I'm trying to get off the camera. Okay.
I can
Don't you have a job to get to? You have a job to get to, boy. You go over there. Hi, this is Alicia Gonzalez, 24/7 Modern Mom, with life going on right here in the background. That's always the case. We are here with Peggy Lee, and Peggy is the mother of 4 and author of the book Spoiled. I always laugh when I say this. Peggy is not just a mom of 4, but she's a mom of 4 ages 4 to 29. That's just, so many stories there. So many stories. And in addition, she's an inspirational speaker, and she's actually going to be hosting this chat with the MasterChef contestants. Right now we have with us Bethy, Brittany, Eddie, and Jordan. So we're going to kind of be starting things off with a little bit of a battle of the sexes.
Awesome.
And I'm planning in language over here. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll take over here. I'm going to ask the question, and then whoever wants to jump in, let me know, and I will put you on camera. And thanks, Alicia. Alicia is doing a great job over there at 24/7 Modern Mom. As you can tell, we all lead busy lifestyles, and sometimes that creeps into our work environment. So please forgive us, and then this is just how life works here. So the first thing we wanted to do is start with the battle of the sexes. Some of us have our own preconceptions about who's a better cook or how many populate most of the master chefs, be it male or female. So we just wanted your thoughts on what you see in terms of men and women and how they approach cooking and where their love comes from. So I'm going to take Alicia off, and whoever wants to chime in. Hey there, Bethy. All right, so battle of the sexes. Are men or women better at cooking?
Oh, gosh. My grandma was phenomenal. My dad's pretty good and my mom's good. But I just think there's a difference in the kitchen, whereas my dad tends to be all focused on one area, whereas my grandma and the girls in my family, we could multitask. So I think that would be the biggest difference in the kitchen, is the multitasking. I don't know. That's my thought.
Okay. All right. And are you seeing that on MasterChef as well?
Well, kind of, because when you look at the challenges when we're all competing, it typically is like you've got guys on either the grill or they're doing one aspect, and you typically have the girls and they're involved with, like, the smaller detailed stuff, but a lot of the detailed stuff. And that has been true so far in all the challenges.
Okay, awesome. Well, I got to let one of the guys get in here. Eddie's chomping at the bit. I'm going to let Eddie get in here. You're up, Eddie.
I don't even think that. I don't even think it's a question. Men are by far the better cooks. I think that we're able to do a little bit more in the kitchen than women.
How so?
We can grill. We tend to not be as freaked out by breaking down maybe a live animal. Other than Bethy. Bethy may be the only woman that I know that's not afraid to break down a live animal or doesn't get a little squeamish when she sees a little blood. But other than Bethy, I don't know any woman that's willing to break down a live animal. So in that respect, I think men can do a little bit more when it comes to cooking.
Well, you did have a whole pig's head in your mystery box at one point, right?
Exactly, and most of the women were a little turned off by it, but for the most part, all the men were ready to get in there and start breaking that head down.
I was trying to figure out how that smelled. That had me worried more than more than anything else. Awesome. Thanks, Eddie. And was your cooking inspiration male or female? Was it your grandma, your dad, your
My inspiration came from my father. My dad is an excellent cook, and I was raised by my father most of my childhood. So my inspiration definitely came from my father. So I guess I'm a little biased.
Excellent. Well, that's okay. We wanted the straight answer, so that's good. Awesome. I wanted to ask all of you, and since you're up, I'll ask you first. How do alliances form on MasterChef, and do you think that they hurt or help you in terms of eventually winning the competition?
The format you say?
The alliances. There seems to be friendships that develop,
Oh,
and
I
does
think
that
it's
hurt or help you?
I think it depends on the individual. First and foremost, you have to know that you're there for competition, and you have to know how to separate, friendship and actual competition. At least I know how to do it because I've had to do it my whole life. But I think if you go there expecting to, make friends and actually take that friendship into the competition, I think it can actually hurt you. But I knew going there that I was going to make some friends because that's who I am. But at the same time, I know how to separate that in competition, which I think I've shown thus far in the season. I know how to separate it.
So as long as it doesn't take your eye off the goal, you're saying it's fine.
Exactly.
Oh, good. Jordan, you want to chime in on this one? I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Jordan. I'll come back and grab you in a minute, Eddie.
Okay.
Hi, Jordan.
Hey, I'm still laughing at Eddie's response to men and women being better at cooking.
I'll let you in on that one. What's your thought?
Never a man to shy away from his opinion, as am I, I'm sure. I guess my opinion would be like if you look back in history, society was dominated by women cook. All cooking was done by females, and I think now the transition that we're making is men are as powerful. They've not only I don't think they've ever surpassed. I think they've gradually made the industry bigger and better. But women are right there along. I can't pick one or the other.
Interesting.
I think with every outstanding male chef that you see out there, you could definitely find an equal in a female. But some of the big ones right now are mostly males. So shoot, maybe I should go with Eddie.
I don't know. Eddie's your competition. You may not want to do that. No. Well, and one of my thoughts as a mom is that cooking for me is just another chore. It's like laundry. It's something that has to be done. People's plates need to be full so their bellies aren't empty. And I wonder if that plays in sometimes in terms of what's happening in our own homes, how we feel about cooking. And if there might be some ways to lighten that up a little bit and have a little more fun with it. So I'm going to get to some of those questions in a minute. But did you have any thoughts about the alliances or whether they hurt or help you?
Yeah, like Eddie said, it really depends. You can have. I think we all pretty much had an alliance together as friends. You go back to the hotel room and you develop a relationship because that's all you know while you're there filming is those people every day in and day out. So if you don't lean on their shoulder every once in a while, you're going to be miserable. Um, Along with that comes the time when you have to throw somebody under the bus. And like Eddie said, I could separate the two, and I'll I'll uh I'll throw you under the bus if I have to if it's gonna better my position in a competition. In real life, no way. But in a competition like this, hands down, whatever is gonna make my chances better at winning MasterChef, I'm gonna do it.
So it hurts a little bit, or you get over it quickly because you realize why you're there.
It hurts, especially for me when I saved myself from the pressure test. Uh, I didn't sleep well that night. It stuck with me. I felt bad because I knew I disappointed a lot of people, but with that came a step towards the next chapter in MasterChef, and I didn't have to cook.
Right, and does it make people want to get you off later, or they just look at that and they think, oh, okay, I do the same thing and life goes on?
I think everybody weighed in, and I mean, I got an answer from everybody from, hey, I understand why you didn't. I don't respect it, or I respect it. I don't agree with it. All the way to Chrissy being very vocal about her opinion on it. She hated it. She thought it was a, a bad move to do, and you saw what happened after.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, I wanted to go on to there seems to be, and help me here if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that there's three main components. There's the technicians, there's the people with the excellent palates, and then there's the people that can walk into a room and be super, super creative. Those seems to me, to a layperson, to be the three areas that someone typically excels. Is that about right, or are there more than that, or less than that?
Yeah, I think with that comes you have to be, I think, really reserved in all those too, because I mean, for me, I think it changes obviously between cooks, but for me, it's finding a balance between all those three, but to lay back, to not overthink. That's where it comes with me. Technical and blowing them away with creativity. I feel that I have that in my arsenal. It's chilling out and stepping back and focusing, um, focusing more on one thing.
If you
And
could be good at only one of those three things, which would you pick?
um, probably to be a technician, because I like I think with techniques, especially the molecular gastronomy techniques nowadays you see in the advanced modern cuisine, that with techniques you can do absolutely everything. And yeah, that's definitely what I would choose.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to get Bethy back in here. I'll be back to you in a sec. Okay, you heard the battle heat up.
I have to respond to Eddie.
I knew you would want to.
I would agree with him to a certain extent. He's an athlete. I'm an athlete. I do really well under pressure when it comes to team working together. Like, that's what I've known forever. That's what Eddie's known forever. And I feel like in general, guys do better in high stress situations. As far as cooking at the house, being creative with cooking, I would agree with you when you say that it becomes a chore. My mom didn't like it. It was a chore to her. I love it. But my dad cooked every once in a while, and he loved it when he did it. Um, Whereas I think that right now, I would agree with both of them. I feel like the men are kind of dominating in the industry, but as far as being better, I don't know. I just feel like more women have it as a chore and are good at it.
Awesome. Well, you're going to change that too, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question then. If you could choose one of between being a technician, having the best palate, or being the most creative, which one would you choose? Jordan said being a technician. Do you agree?
No, I'd have to say having the best palate. I think having the best palate is something that you can't really teach yourself necessarily. You can to a certain extent, but it's a God-given gift. And I think that you can learn to be a technician. You can learn to be more creative. But as far as learning to have a better palate, I think that's most difficult. So I personally would rather have that um, would be the thing that I would have.
So is that similar to having a good ear if you're a vocalist? Is that, I mean, some of us, we don't know if we have a good palate or not if we're not cooks. I mean, it's never been put to the test. So
I
is
think
that the
you can
person?
advance your palate, but I think a lot of it is just either you can do it or not. It's like blending seasonings together. You either know how to do it or you don't, and you can get better at it. But I think it's like an art. It's just something that's in you. It's God given.
Yeah. What area of the country do you live in? What's your regional influence?
Well, I'm Greek, so I do a lot of Mediterranean food, but I'm also a country girl, so I do a lot of hunting. So we literally in my freezer right now, I've got a buffalo, elk, turkey, boar in my freezer, oh, bear, all of that in my freezer. So we do a lot of wild game at my house.
Do you live in Montana?
Again,
Oregon,
outlet,
nice. I grew up in Idaho. We had some of those things in our freezer. I was thinking it might be the same territory.
yep. I love it. I love having it all. So fresh, and I have a massive garden, so my influence is definitely nature. I cook whatever
Oh,
I have.
that's awesome. Um, what is the easiest recipe ever? I mean, that's still healthy and good for you, but what's the easiest recipe ever? If a tired mom had you on the phone and said, "Oh my gosh, I've been chasing around triplets all day. Their dad's coming home. He's hungry." What would you say to put on the table?
Oh goodness. What I love doing in the summertime is barbecuing pizzas. Just buy store-bought dough and make whatever toppings your kids want, or you can make your own dough, which is what I usually do. But I think that's a really easy dish to make.
Yeah, we do that one often. Yeah, it doesn't heat up the whole kitchen, right?
Yes.
Great, great. I think I'm going to get Eddie back on here for a minute, so I'll catch you back in a few, Bethy.
All right.
Everybody wanted to comment on you.
Just for the record, I don't think there is a woman in the world that has bear, elk, boar, turkey in her freezer. Nobody but Bethy will have that in her freezer. That's what I was talking about.
I think we got to give her some major respect for that, right?
She makes up about 2% of all women, out there. And I just have one comment for Jordan because he kind of disagreed with me with the men things. I just want to tell him that he may have went up about 20% for that, but he knows what I'm talking about.
His stock of some sort, huh? I don't think I asked you the question between if you had to pick one between it being a technician, having the best palate, or being the most creative, which one you'd take if you could only have one.
So I can't say I want a creative palate?
Nope.
Can't choose that?
I'll give you an A for creativity, but no.
I think I would want to be creative. When I go out to restaurants and things like that, I always want to try something that I've never had before. So in that respect, I think I would want to be more creative so that when someone does taste your food, it gives them an experience of something that they never had before. So I think I would have to go with being creative.
And is that the one of the three that you feel is the strongest for you?
I try to be creative. I know I'm not as technical as Jordan. He's a very technical guy. That's one thing I really liked about Jordan. But yeah, I think being creative is definitely my strong suit. So I have to go with that.
Awesome. And what would be that recipe that you'd give the tired mom who's got to get food on the table really quickly?
With me being a trainer, and I always try to find meals that's quick and delicious to eat, after a long day. And most people go to the gym after they leave from work, so it's all about quick and easy recipes. And I think just an easy recipe to do is just to do a piece of fish or something like that. Whether you bake it in the oven with some type of fresh herb laid on top of it with slices of lime or something like that, lemon. Or just basically sear it in the pan and create some type of quick sauce to go with it. I think that's always simple and quick, and it's delicious.
Yeah, excellent. If you can get your kids to eat it, my kids will, but some won't, right? Depends on what you put on top sometimes.
Yeah.
Excellent. What do you think? You've been working with three of the best chefs in the nation with Graham and Joe and Gordon Ramsay. What's the biggest thing you've learned from them this season so far?
The biggest thing that I learned from the show is basically time management. Never have I had to worry about time when I'm cooking. And it's all about organization and stuff in the kitchen. And it was times where, when I first started there, where I struggled with that because, I just wasn't used to it. But I think that really transitioned for me, at least when I got back home, it transitioned and it helped me in the kitchen, understanding how to organize, my kitchen and organize the various steps that I had to go to prepare a meal. And then me being a trainer and trying to teach people quick ways to, prepare a meal and things like that after a workout. I think more than anything, that's what helped me.
Yeah, excellent. And what area of the country are you in?
I'm in Miami right now.
Oh, you're in
South
Florida.
Florida.
So so you've got the key lime and the The fresh influence going. Great. I'm going to hop over to grab Jordan real quick, and I'll be back for a couple more questions for you. Okay?
Okay.
There you are.
We did so much bonding in LA. I see these people, and it makes me miss them, especially Eddie, man.
Aw.
You never
Now, are
know,
you in Miami?
You never know what's going to come out of Eddie's mouth.
It's obvious there's some friendships there. That's excellent. I mean, when we're watching on TV, we wonder if any of you like each other, because it just is so intense.
Yep. I mean, it's a reality show. It's editing. They do a good job hyping up stuff and making it look maybe not embellished, but focusing on something that maybe we weren't focusing on while we were there.
Right.
But it is intense. It's very intense.
Well, we've got Bethy in Oregon and Eddie over in Florida. Where are you? Are you somewhere in the middle?
Minneapolis, yeah, right in the middle.
Oh, you are right in the middle. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if your regional influence comes into your cooking. I would imagine it does.
Regional influence. I mean, I think Midwest is like hot, heavy workers. Stews and roast beefs and hot dishes and casseroles and no, that's not me at all.
That's not you at all. So you took a look at that and said, I want to do something else. Yeah, I grew up in the Midwest too, so I know what you're talking about. It's the one dish meals, right?
Yeah, I like to. I'm a little more refined. I like to deconstruct more than just throw everything in one pot.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you the same question. What would be your quick dinner to throw on the table?
One thing I think I learned this on MasterChef. I actually learned it from Eddie. Taking cauliflower, take it raw and throw it in a food processor and pulse it till it looks about the size of couscous. And you can bake it off real quick, or you can blanch it in boiling water, salted water, less than a minute. And I think that's an awesome, healthy way to bring in cauliflower into maybe kids' diets that aren't normally exposed to it or don't like it. I think that's super easy. And then when it comes to Sundays, cut up all your veggies that you bought in the weekend. And I'm a huge salad fan. My mom called them garbage salads. Throw everything that you got and into a bowl, make a vinaigrette on a Sunday, and you have it all week. Quick meals. As for kids, maybe you'd have to reach out a little more and do like a tuna salad on top of a lettuce salad, or even just a tuna sandwich. I think is always pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, well, I found that with my kids, the more I expose them to earlier on, the more open they are. So my kids have always eaten salad. I think it's good to expose them to that, even if they don't gobble the whole bowl down right away. If you can get 2 bites down, maybe next time it's 4, right?
Yep, they say exposure and participation are the 2 main things to get kids into the kitchen.
So participation, you mean let them help you cook?
Yeah, definitely.
Even if they make a mess, right?
Yeah, that's what mom and dad are there for, to pick up after the kids.
You must be a younger child. I mean, are you?
I'm the youngest of 3.
I knew it by your comment. That's very cute. Awesome. So I asked Eddie the question about what you've learned from being either from Gordon or Graham or Joe directly, or just from being on the show. If there was the one thing that you felt you benefited, or the thing that you learned the most, what would that be?
Being humble in the kitchen. I can come off cocky. I can come off confident. I think there's a fine balance in between them that you can ruffle some feathers when people think you're being cocky. And I hold myself at a high standard, and I try to reach it, and I believe that I'm there, and I think that helps in succeeding in everything, especially with cooking in my book. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough
You
for
come
me to be.
you come across as a humble guy. I mean, I guess I wasn't really expecting that answer from you.
Well, that's
No?
good then. I guess that's good to hear because I think that goes right into cooking. It's to be reserved with my food as well. To not overthink. I overthink a lot of things, and I think I need to focus more. I just have so much fun changing everything on a plate rather than having 3 elements. I want to deconstruct one of those elements into 10 different elements, and then I get over my head, and then I think I can do this and that at the same time, and I shouldn't do that. So yeah, it's that focus aspect. And Eddie said it too. Time management is that, hands down, you were forced to learn, and I think everybody came away with that.
Anything you learned with your cooking skills or a technique that you learned? I guess the question that maybe I'm not getting to is, are you able to work with them and learn some of their techniques, or is it you're just more working like we see on the show and you're really not rubbing shoulders that much with them?
Yeah, you're not rubbing shoulders as much as I think maybe. Even if you watch a show, I think you can see that we're not rubbing shoulders a ton with them. What you see is pretty much what we're getting. They might highlight 3 out of the 19, but all 19, they walked by every station and talked to each individual. And you can ask questions, and I think a lot of us didn't do that, and we should have maybe asked more. Um, but if you have a question when they walk by, it's up to them to answer. But a lot of times they'll give you they're there to help you. They're there to take on questions, and I don't know if there's any parameters to where there are rules, if what they can answer and what they can say. But from my experience, when I had a question and or balancing 2 options, they would tell me which one. So yeah, they help, but it's quick, it's on set, it's not offset.
Well, that's interesting that you said that you didn't ask a lot of questions. Is that because you were too focused, or you were afraid that if you asked a question, you might have to go on a completely different direction, or?
I think, yeah, too focused, too involved,
Too focused.
Feeling the pressure, constantly feeling the pressure that you don't. I bet every person has said I woulda, shoulda, coulda about something on the show. Not
so
everybody.
That would have been your shoulda, would have been ask more, talk to them more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if the next person's coming along, that's what you tell them to do.
Yeah, and be ready. Get ready.
What does that mean?
It's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, reality TV is intense. Shooting reality TV is intense. Long days, no family, limited phone calls. I mean, it's intense.
Great. All right, I got to give Bethy a chance here. I'll be back in a sec.
Good deal.
Hi there. I am having so much fun with the 3 of you. I can't imagine how much fun you guys had together.
We did. And Eddie, I would give Jordan 15 points, not 20 for that.
And I'm sure you are not going to tell me what that means, right? I'll have to find it out later. Okay. So to the question of what you learned either from the show, your major takeaway either from the show or from the 3 fabulous chefs that you were working with, what would that be for you?
Well, I've really done a lot of time management stuff, so that was something that I knew I was going to be okay with going in. As far as what I tend to, like Jordan, overthink things, and I would just do too many things on the plate. And so what I really learned from the judges is simplicity. Like, they want simplicity. They want you to be creative and think out of the box, but then sometimes they don't. But they really want you to really highlight the ingredients. And so that was one thing I had to really try to change my how I think, because I'm always thinking, put more and more and more, and really what's best is less. And so that was my biggest challenge, and I learned a lot about that on the show. And then going home, I try to cook more that way now.
Yeah, awesome. I don't remember if you were one of these. I mean, there were a lot of you, so if I get this wrong, please forgive me. But it seems like there were always 1 or 2 that would turn to a dessert, even in a challenge. And as soon as I saw that, I think I went, oh, because usually not the winning dish. Yeah. Can you help me understand that a little bit?
Actually, my first take was desserts, because I don't really like doing desserts. I did well on the cupcakes, but I was not expecting necessarily to do well. I just have a sister that's phenomenal at making cupcakes. But for me, I think that this year, I think that it was one of those things that it was almost like exciting to go to desserts if that was the option because people knew that nobody else was really going to do them, and so it would stand out.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's because most cooks don't like to bake, and vice versa. And so I think that it showcased that you're more than just a cook; you can bake.
okay. So it really was a strategy when somebody was doing that. They were trying to find a way for them to stand out against everybody else.
Yeah, like Natasha when she did the first challenge when she made the tarts, like that was brilliant of her to do, and she stood out because of it.
Yeah, I was trying to reach through the screen to eat one of those myself. Are you able to taste each other's food?
Not at all. Not at all.
I guess that's part of the competition, right?
Very picky about not tasting anything.
Yeah, because I bet
We
the
all want,
temptation's there.
we wanted to just bring our food back and eat it for lunch, but that was not an option.
You had to go back to the hotel and eat. What's that?
Exactly. We wanted to. I ended up buying a hot plate so I could cook my meals in the hotel.
Ah, that does not seem fair. Great. So, winter. Let me see. So, the toughest thing about being we talked about what you learned or what you benefited from the most on the show. So let's flip the coin. And what was the toughest thing for you,
Non-food related?
or both?
Okay. Non-food related. I am so ridiculously close with my family. I have two amazing sisters that I'm best friends with. They actually married brothers. And then I have two nieces that I see every day. And they're like my little girls. And so for me, that killed me being away that long from them. And not really communicating because we once every other week basically got to talk on the phone for 10 minutes. And
Wow.
literally,
And how long were you away?
um, well, we were gone well over a month. That's all I can really say.
Wow.
Really, all of us were. So, um, yeah, so a long time being gone for me from family because I'm just so close to them. As far as the food part, like I would have loved to have been able to cook more. You think we're on MasterChef, we're going to be cooking all the time. It's just not the case, and so you're trying to get smarter and not be able to really be in the kitchen a lot. And that was a challenge. That was a definite challenge. And I would have loved to have more kitchen time as far as
It sounds like it. And since we don't see, we just see the compilation. Are you really in the kitchen every day, or not so much?
not every day, no. And, even when we're in it, then, you have the hour that you're cooking and then you're done. And so, I'm used to cooking all the time, like all the time. And so that was, that is my release as well as fun for me. And so to not have that release, and I'm a country girl, so now I'm in a prison cell, and
With a hot
I'm
plate.
eating no food, and I'm like, how am I doing this? Like I almost had a panic attack one day, but yeah, that was tough. That was really
Yeah.
tough. Luckily, all the contestants were all going through it together, and we're all friends. We really are all friends because we live with each other, and so you get to know each other, and we help each other out in that area. So that's really good.
And I would imagine missing family is one thing you all pretty much had in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm gonna jump over and chat with, I forget who I did last. Was it Jordan last or Eddie last?
Jordan last, but Bree's on now.
Great. So we're doing Eddie. All right. I'll be back with you probably for one last if you can hang on for just another minute.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, and I see that Bree just joined us, so I'll get her next too. So I asked you what you answered the thing that you did. Did you have a chance to answer the thing that you got the most out of working with MasterChef?
I did.
Yeah. So flip that.
Did you
What was the rough?
did you forget? You forgot already?
It's hard when we're not all on here together. It's taxing me a little bit here, but hopefully I get at least a B from you guys. I don't know. You can talk about me later. So Eddie, flip the coin then. Did you, what was the toughest thing for you? Food and non-food?
I think the toughest thing for me was the not knowing part. Like we literally never knew what we was doing. We never knew anything, what we was cooking, where we was going. And I think more than anything, that drove everyone crazy because we would just, it would be days where we would just, just sit there all day and we didn't know what time we was going to be doing anything or didn't know where we was going, where we was going for challenges or didn't know what we was going to be cooking. And I think that really drove everyone crazy. At least it drove me crazy. I mean, I know it drove Bethy crazy. One day, she literally kicked the trash can over and made balls out of aluminum foil and started throwing them against the wall. And she went and sat in the corner for 3 hours. So,
Self-imposed timeout?
yeah, she literally drove herself crazy. So I think just the not knowing, what we was going to be doing on a day-to-day basis is what, drove us to insanity.
So was that for just the type A personalities, or that was everybody?
I think it's type A, B, C, D, and E. Everything.
Just come on. This is rough. So did you expect that all going in?
Oh, I mean, I really had no idea what to expect going in, but from day one, I realized what I was getting myself into because from the day we stepped foot there, we never knew what we was doing. So just slowly, just went downhill with the insanity from there.
What was the hardest thing for you personally?
That not knowing, of course, being
Okay.
away from my family was the main thing, but just also, just never knowing what you was going to be doing.
Excellent. Great. I'm going to get Bree on here, and then we'll wrap up with each of you here in a minute. All right, Eddie?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I've been ignoring you, Bree. You popped up there and I didn't see you. Somebody nudged me. I'm glad they did. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you've been listening for a while.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Conversation.
Awesome. Well, then I think where I'd like to start with you is just the best thing and then the thing that was the toughest for you out of participating in MasterChef.
I think the toughest is obviously having to cook meat. And I think, going into it, I knew that I was going to have to cook meat, but just the levels in which I had to do it, for example, opening up a mystery box and having a giant pig's head be under there, that was definitely difficult. Getting over that, like, you have to get to a place in your mind where you just are like, okay, I have to ignore this and I just have to do it. And you kind of get into game mode. So it's difficult to be able to get to that place, but, you know, starting from the beginning, like my initial interview with the judges and everything, and then up until that point with the pig's head, it's kind of like, okay, I just have to do this, like.
The second I saw that pig's head, I just, my heart just froze for you. I was telling somebody else, I was thinking about how it smelled. So, and I'm not a vegetarian, so I can only imagine what you were going through. How are you so great at cooking with those types of ingredients when you probably don't do it a lot?
Yeah, I don't. A lot of people ask me if I had practiced beforehand, and I was like, no. They're like, why wouldn't you practice? I was like, well, what would I do? Like, go and buy some steaks and cook them up and, like, do what with them, Like, my kitchen, it's a meat-free household. So, um, but yeah, no, I think, just growing up, I wasn't a vegetarian. I've only been a vegetarian for about maybe 5 years, I think. So, I did eat meat when I was younger, so I do have some knowledge of what it should look like and how it should be cooked. And I think being a vegetarian has helped me out with like flavor profiles, like really knowing like herbs and like what flavors really go well together. And so being able to know those things, I can pair it with a type of meat, and then usually just hope for the best when it comes to cooking it.
You've been doing great so far. What was the best thing from participating?
The best thing about participating, I don't know, that's a tough one. I think definitely the satisfaction you get out of it, like maybe that's a little weird to say, but like, in a competition, when you do win, like there's a ton of satisfaction, and kind of having people, you know, validate what you're doing. It's kind of like, okay, cool. Like, you know, you get to this point where you're making all these dishes and you walk in just assuming you're a home cook. And especially for me, like, you know, I knew that I was steps below other people because I was the youngest, so people had like years of experience on me. And I had this disability, as people would say, you know, like not being able to eat meat. Um, so, you know, going in there and really proving yourself, at least for me, you know what I mean, being able to cook these meat dishes and prove myself, um, I think that's a really really big form of gratitude. So it's great.
Yeah. Awesome. And I wanted to ask you the question too, if you had to pick only one between being an excellent technician, having an excellent palate, or having just massive creativity, which one of those three would you pick?
That's a tough one. It's between palate and creativity. I'm not very technical. I really should be, but I'm not. So that one's already out. I am a really creative person, but I feel like having a good palate is important. I don't know. Okay, so I think being creative is important for your cooking, but having a good palate is important for other people's cookings. So I'm gonna say being creative, because then I would just never eat out and just eat all my own food and I'd still be satisfied.
So you're going for you. That's awesome. And we've got somebody in Oregon and Minnesota and Florida. Where are you?
Well, that's a good question. I was living in LA, and I'm actually currently road tripping across America by myself.
Wow.
I'm moving to New York. So right now I'm in a cafe in Denver, Colorado. I just pulled over off the highway to chat with you guys. So I'm
That is
to Nebraska, and then eventually later in the week I'll be in New York. So
major points, Bree. Major points. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to wrap up with one last question, so I'll bring you back in here one more time, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Hey there.
This is my homage to Bree.
I love it. If I would have been thinking, I would have done the same, but these are just my everydays.
I want to put this on record that we went out to eat one time while we were there at Father's office, and we ordered an appetizer. I think it was like queso fundido, some cheesy dip, but I mistakenly gave Bree some, telling her that it was meatless, and she tasted it and said, "There's chorizo in there," and there was chorizo in there. So I just want to put it on record that I fed the vegetarian meat.
Has she forgiven you?
I hope not.
Excellent. It sounds like she's in a big transition. That's amazing. So, if you were to give any advice to somebody following you on MasterChef, one thing, what would that be?
Have a good outlet for stress.
Nice.
Because I think cooking is a lot of the people there. I think cooking is their outlet, like Bethy said. I think that holds true for a lot of the people that a lot of the contestants.
Huh.
And when you're put in that situation, it's no longer stress-free. It's not a coping mechanism anymore. If anything, it's something that it is driving you crazy, and that's where the stress. That's the maker of the stress. So probably if you're a reader, bring books. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a reader. I think I dealt with it by going back to the hotel and having a beer and trying to relax. But it's so hard to not talk about it with all the contestants when you get back to the hotel, because you're eating it, you're breathing it. It's so prevalent in your life right there and then, that it's hard not to continually have it be brought up in casual conversation. So yeah, and you know what? Find a shoulder to lean on. Find a few good friends out of the deal, and that'll hopefully help the stress factor as well.
Yeah, sounds like it. And the beer thing could get out of hand, so you need something else besides that, right?
Sure.
Awesome. And I know you can't say, I know if I were to ask you now who's going to win, you'd all probably say I am. So I guess I'll phrase it this way: win or lose, how has this changed your life?
I think that has yet to be shown in the sense that like something material that it changes. In my head, it's changed the validation factor. It's there. I think making it on the show, let alone how far we've all made it till now, that validates that we know what we're doing, and also validates why we're doing it. It's because we love it. It's the passion. We all can't hide from it. It's definitely there every day, and um, it's been validated. Sweet.
Well, it came across. It came across. So, that's sometimes we really connect with more of the chefs than some of the others, but regardless, I think it's clear that you guys all really are passionate about your craft. So that's excellent. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Feel free to stick around. I'm going to plug in with the other three, and thank you so much, Jordan. You've been
Thank you,
great.
Peggy. Modern Mom, Alicia, thank you for the invite. Had fun. And Eddie, no comment. Bree, good to see you. And Bethy, go shoot me a bear. Have fun, you guys.
And you'll talk to Eddie offline. Gotcha. All right.
Maybe.
Okay, bye-bye. Got to bring you on next. You just got a no comment, so. So same for you. What advice would you give to a contestant who has no idea, like you had no idea?
Um, I would say be ready for lots and lots of stress. Be ready for the unexpected. I think like most of the other contestants, I think we kind of thought that we would just go out there and just be cooking all the time, but that wasn't the case. Cooking probably made up about my dog here. Get down.
Aww.
Cooking made up maybe like I would say 30-40% of it. Then the rest was just a lot of downtime and just not knowing what we were going to be doing. So I would just say be ready for the unexpected. And if you do go on the show, spend as much time with your family before you go, because you're definitely not going to see them.
What's the puppy's name?
ISIS.
Isis. That's awesome. And how has this changed your life?
Just my appreciation for food has gotten greater. But just like Jordan said, validation. This show really separates those who can cook and those who can really cook. And I saw that just the level of talent that I saw when I was out there. Things that I saw Jordan doing and Bethy doing and Lynn doing and Natasha, and I can just go on and on with everybody. I was in wow. I was in awe of those guys. And I felt like I was right along with them. It just validated everything that I've been doing over the last few years in the kitchen. And more than anything, it felt amazing.
That's great. Well, we really enjoyed watching you. It's nice to meet Isis.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. Or thanks, Eddie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't look like Jordan.
I know you don't. My bad. Hey, Bree, I'm going to bring you back up and then let Bethy close it out. You get extra points, like I said, for dropping in mid cross country. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So what advice would you give to the next unsuspecting soul that comes along?
I think there's been a lot of really good advice so far. But for me, I think the most important thing to remember is to always be yourself. I know that sounds really cheesy, but like honestly, do not lose yourself at all. I think it's really hard to adapt into becoming another person while you're there. You're in a competition and you see all these other people, and especially in terms of food, you see the kind of food that other people are doing, and it's just so easy to see that and kind of be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to compete with them and do this, and even though it's not something that you would normally do. And the judges want you to take risks, but they don't want you to take a risk that's like totally out of your realm. They want you to be able to take a risk and produce something that's awesome, but something that's still you on the plate. I think that's really important. And especially, you know, in order to get along with other people, you really need to be yourself. You can't become some, you know, crazy competitive demon because you have to live with these people, and you know, it's important to be able to get along.
So hopefully you don't start out that way, right? Hopefully that. And I'm assuming that they're picking some personalities to be in the mix, so you probably have to be a little flexible as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that a lot of, you know, I think that they do choose large personalities, definitely, but I don't really think a lot of people like. I get asked a lot of times if people are playing it up for the camera. I'm like, no, I think that everyone like pretty much is true to themselves, and the personalities that you see are just large personalities. Like a lot of the people, like most of the contestants are just it's just who they are, and they're just really how should I put it? Overwhelming people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me
Yeah.
included. But you know, I think it's just the way it is.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you saw the homage to you from Jordan with the glasses. It seems like you've really bonded with.
Thank you, Jordan. And I forgot when we were at Father's office, and he was like, "Hey, Brie, taste this." I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Is it meatless?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I tasted it, and I was like, "Nope, there's chorizo in this." And he was like,
Yeah, and he had your glasses on while he was giving the story, so he even got into costume for it. It was awesome.
"So much, Jordo. I appreciate it."
So how has your life changed, regardless of the outcome?
Yeah, my life has changed a lot. I think that, you know, you learn so much while you're on the show. It doesn't matter how long you're there. You could be there for 2 days and you'd still have like an immense amount of information that you'll have learned. For me, in the culinary world, it's changed a lot. I've since received a lot of job offers that are like really huge career moves for me. That's actually why I'm moving. I was living in LA working as a pastry chef, and I received two really big job offers in New York that you guys will have to keep an eye out for, and I'll keep you updated on. But that's what I'm
Please do. Congrats.
for. Yeah, thank you. So really, really exciting things.
I've
So
lived across the river from Manhattan. There are some amazing culinary spots in New York, as I'm sure you know. So
New York is just such a
I'm
food mecca.
excited for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited to make the move, and I'm really, you know, appreciative for everything that MasterChef has given me. You know, like it's instilled a competitive spirit in me even more so, and I've really learned to observe other people and really learn everything I can from other people, no matter who they are. It's not just about learning from the professionals. You know, like friends who don't even say that they cook but make it really good. You know, like I met a bunch of people in LA who were like, oh yeah, you know, my Mexican culture, I can make really good homemade enchilada sauce. And I'm like, cool, teach me how to make that, you know, like just to be able to learn from other people and to be able to adapt to your environment. I think that's some really important things that I was able to gain from MasterChef.
Great. Anything else you want to say before I click over to Bethy?
I don't think so. It was cool hanging out. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you're awesome. It's been really fun to get to know you, and it was really fun to watch you on the show. And can't wait to see who is the victor. So I'll click over, and nice talking to you.
Thanks so much.
Hey, you get to close us out here, Bethy.
Yay.
I figured we started the other way around. We'll go back this way. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to go through the two questions, and then feel free to add anything you want to say as well. But so, what advice would you give to the unsuspecting next contestant?
I don't remember who said it, if it was Jordan or Eddie, but bring something that you can do that is uplifting, because like all of us, we're there and our cooking is our outlet, and we don't have that. So it's definitely not an outlet when you're there. And so whether it's books, or I can't sleep unless I watch a movie at night. I know it's ridiculous, but I just can't. So I brought a DVD player and I watch movies every night. Or when we're in our holding for hours and there's nothing to do, we would sit around my little DVD player and watch movies. So bringing something that can preoccupy your mind, because like Eddie said, one day I was freaking out and I did we made up games with little like foil, and we had targets, and we had one game of throwing foil at each other as hard as we possibly could. and we just made up games because we were so bored. So you have to preoccupy your mind and not just be reading the whole time or it. Yeah.
Well, well, I guess that makes it a good thing that you guys were able to make friends, because that would be even more miserable if you were sitting there in a room of a bunch of people you didn't like, right?
We did get along luckily.
Yeah, awesome. How is, win or lose, how has this changed your life, Bethy?
You know, I'm proud of how I competed because for me, number one thing was keeping my character and not changing that. And I've been on reality TV before, and so I knew going in like they can take anything you say and twist it and tweak it. And for me, it was such a priority to stay true to who I am. And I think that that's important when you go into something like this to know who you are going into it and have that mentality going in. As far as what I've taken away from my experience, just even more passionate about food. I love cooking. I love experimenting new things. I mean, gosh, there was a couple of times where Eddie was teaching me how to do like his perfect grits and just learning from people that are really good in certain areas. Like I've never really made true grits before. I'm from Oregon. And so, you know, being taught that from Eddie was outstanding. And just like along the way, other people have this, you know, same thing that they were really good at. And then also in, you know, when you're around people that you like breathe with, you know, somebody knows how to make enchiladas. Well, teach me how to do that because I want to do that amazing like you. It's just having an open mind to that and really wanting to learn about all different types of food and experimenting it at different restaurants and coming home and making what you've tried and having a more sophisticated palate. And I don't know, I feel like I've learned a lot in a wide spectrum. Um, Definitely taking away a lot from it, and a lot of friendships from it.
Excellent. Well, you've learned a lot of respect in many ways, but it sounds like particularly because of what's in your freezer. So, that, and what's that?
Where my food comes from.
Right, right, exactly. So you have the last word. And before I give you that, I just want to say thank you to you and Eddie and Jordan and Bree. And Bree even had to pop into an internet cafe, it sounds like. So we really appreciate you being here with us today with 24/7 Modern Mom. So you get the last word, Bethy.
Well, I just, you know, seeing everybody on here, I just miss them so much. And, you know, I think you can't really see that bond that we create when we're on the show because you're not seeing behind the scenes and you're seeing tidbits and more or less the conflict than anything else. And we really had a great bond. And those are some great characters and great friendships. And just, it was an honor to be able to get to know them for sure.
Well, we could see it here today. So thank you. And thank you for, it was a fun discussion today. Thank you.
Hello.
You're back, and we're still recording. So
We're still recording. Okay, good thing I put that drink down. See, y'all don't need to see that. They got to see that. Okay, so
tea, right?
yeah, that's what it was. Hey, Gerbu. You guys are fabulous. Man, I'm in love. I can't pick between you guys because I so appreciate the honesty. You're all really intellectually stimulating. And I think it was really nice for you guys to be able to get that across. And it's not that you can't see it in the show, but the show is about editing, and it's a reality TV show, and it's designed to get viewers. And just being able to sit here and talk with you guys, I see, you know what? You guys are your people with all of these very interesting layers to you, and you're really an inspiration to other people. And to listen to you all talk, I hope you will use whatever it is that you've found to empower other people, because every single one of you, you've got it. You've definitely got it. And I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us. And I hope that you will share it with other people, because this is not the last that we've heard of any of you. Not by a long shot. So thank you. I really appreciate you being here.
Awesome. I second that. It was so heartwarming to see the relationships that were built. It's a competition show, and so I didn't know what to expect. And I'm with you. I found very heartwarming, real, intelligent people. So it was a blast.
In sign language,